No, you gotta have somebody who.
Oh, moderator, sorry. Okay. Yes.
I'd like to nominate Tony Germain as moderator.
Okay.
Second.
Any discussion? Any other nominations?
Second?
Yes, second, okay. Any other nominations? Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, Mr. Jermaine?
Neil, you seconded that, right? Yes.
Sorry. I'm trying to beat that 7 or 8.
No
Okay.
problem.
I haven't eaten all day, I'm hungry.
So we have the pledge, so if the town clerk would please read the call.
Revised legal notice, town meeting, town of Higganum. The town electors and citizens qualified to vote at town meetings are hereby warned and notified there will be a town meeting on January 28, 2016 at 7 p.m. at the Station No. 1 Firehouse, 439 Saybrook Road, Higganum, Connecticut, for the following purpose. 1. Valley Shore Emergency Communications is seeking a grant with municipal partners for a multi-site UHF system to provide enhanced communications. 2. Requesting reappropriation of capital funds, $12,000 on a completed firehouse project to correct faulty workmanship. Dated in Higganum, Connecticut, January 20th, 2016. Board of Selectmen, Liz Millardo, Robert P. Duvall, Sean E. Donovan.
Okay, so let's take them one at a time. If somebody wants to make a motion on the first one, and then we'll get a second, and then we'll have some discussion about what it's all about.
Excuse me, I'm thinking we need a motion and a second to accept the call as read before we get to that.
Anybody want to make a motion or roll the call?
Second.
All those in favor of accepting the call as read?
Aye.
Okay, that motion carries. Okay, so would somebody make a motion in favor of the first item, the cell phone?
No, it's not cell phone.
Valley Shore Emergency Communication is seeking a grant with municipal partners for a multi-state UHF system to provide enhanced communication. If somebody would make a motion that we accept that.
Oh.
Okay, Bob?
Second.
Second? Okay, discussion. Can you give us some background?
Yes.
on what it's all
So
about?
the purpose of the vote tonight is just simply a vote for us to participate in a grant application with 10 towns: Higganum, Essex, Deep River, Durham, Chester, Oline, Middlefield, Killingworth, Westbrook, and Lyme. It is for a UHF system for Valley Shore. There's grant funds that are available. We are participating as a group, so it's considered a nice grant, so all of us can share the cost. We're going to apply for our grant for the next 3 years of $675,000 each year. The grant is matched at 60%, which if awarded will give us $375,000 a year, which is the maximum amount you can receive. The estimated costs for this are $1,875,000, so it's expensive to do. If all the grants are awarded in full, then there will be a balance of $750,000, and at that point it'll be calculated between the 10 towns. Right now, the agreement to do that is at OPM, which is the Office of Policy and Management up at the state, being reviewed by their legal team. So once it's back, we can send, we'll get a copy of it. So tonight, we're not voting on whether we're going to do it. Tonight is simply to vote so we can participate in this grant. If we do not vote to participate in the grant, and the grant is awarded, we can't go in next year or the following year. So the town has to participate from the beginning. And they feel confident to get this dollar amount, and then once that's together and it's been approved, and at that point in time, when it comes to fruition, there will be another town meeting to vote to participate, and I will know what dollar amount we will need. So by the numbers, Essex is handling the fiduciary responsibility of getting all the paperwork in for this grant. So, we're smaller than some of the other towns, and so if they were to divide it, which I've not seen a formula this way, but I don't know what would be negotiated, and obviously I would do my best to make sure it was fair. The maximum amount I can see this costing the town would be $75,000, because we are sharing it with 9 other towns. So that's all the information that I have, and I need this resolution to be signed, to give me the right to say Hadam's in on the grant. We're not voting on any money at all. And then they're gonna go through the process and they'll keep it posted as it's awarded and I will report back.
I have one question.
Yes.
The 75,000 that we would be liable for, is that each year or over the 3 years?
No, it was just, would be that over the, it wouldn't come until the end. So what they're looking to do is apply for this grant for $675 for the next 3 years and put that money aside. And then use that dollar amount to be used towards the equipment. And then the balance, which I'm guessing, I mean, would be $75,000. Again, these things drive me crazy because you're dealing with a lot of estimated costs, would be a one-time to the town.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
Yes.
A couple of questions. I don't want to discourage anybody to not support this. I think it's a good idea. So you think it'll be split 10 with the 10 towns? Is there any is there any worry about a usage cost? Like, you know, you get X amount of calls, Essex gets X
Well,
amount
I
of
think
calls.
that's to the
I don't
point.
want to, like,
No, and
you know,
that's
crystal ball to look.
right, to our size and looking at it, because pretty much everything that we share, for what I've seen thus far, is divided, you know, between population or usage and that type of thing. So to your point, you know, I mean, there's other towns that are larger than us with larger budgets and larger populations. So in all fairness, that's why, you know, the reality of it being 75,000, you know, is probably not, but I don't want to sit here and say it's definitely not because I'm not really sure how it's going to pan out. But to your point, yes, I think it should be by call, usage, and population. I think it should be based on population. I think it would be fair.
Yeah, I agree. And then the time frame, you know, we're going to approve to apply for the grant time frame.
Right, so this is probably something that isn't going to happen for 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if we should start, you know, once it's approved,
Right.
kind of get an idea, start budgeting as opposed to getting hit with the 75,000
Correct.
and 17, 18, or
Right.
19.
I mean, you know, when you,
Every year.
right, to your point, when you go to apply for the grants, you know, you usually have to feel whether it's going to work or it's not going to work. Again, Essex is handling the fiduciary responsibility of paperwork, but from what I'm being told, they feel confident. All other, the only person who has any other town meeting is Deep River, and everything is supposed to be done by the end of this week, and they're having theirs next week. But in order to, once we apply for the grant for the 675, we'll know what we're going to get, and I think at that point, once, you know, traditionally, once they give it to you, it keeps going, that doesn't mean anything, as we all know. But I think once we know where we stand with it, to be able to allocate those funds annually in the capital plan, I don't think would be a bad idea. Yes.
I see we have a couple of members of the fire department here.
Yeah,
I just wondered how they feel about it.
sure. Any comments?
Yeah, we're in favor of anything that improves communication. We still got dead spots in town and difficulties communicating, and I think this would be worthwhile.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
Yes.
Will this improve the communications along 154 for dead spots?
It won't improve it for cell phone service, but it will improve it for radio between the communication for all the emergency services. So
Guaranteed.
guaranteed, it's an upgrade. So the
It's an
equipment, it's an upgrade in the equipment. The equipment's been there for a while, so there's new frequencies that are available, and that's what they're looking to do. So to add to that. But we're, unfortunately, cell phones is a different topic. We can
I
talk about
understand.
that after the meeting. Anybody
Any other
else?
questions, comments? Okay, we have a motion, we have a second, we have some discussion. All those in favor of participating in this program? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that motion carries.
Okay. Thank you.
Go on to the second item. It's a request for a reappropriation of capital funds, $12,000 on a completed firehouse project to correct faulty workmanship. So, let's have a motion to put this forward in a second, and then we'll have discussion. Now, Bob do all votes, makes a motion. Second?
Second.
Gary? Okay, could you give some background?
Definitely. So there were funds that are remaining in the capital non-recurring fund for work that was actually done here for sealing of the pavement for the fire department. And remaining in that fund, and the project's completed, it's done, the funds are not needed, is $11,383.27. So because this budget was voted on at a town meeting, I can't appropriate those funds to be used on anything else but that project. So what I'm requesting is for those funds to come back in, and we're going to add in another, I don't know, $617 to that fund. I had previously gone to the Board of Finance to get an approval because I knew I would need to come to a town meeting. So the Board of Finance allowed to have an appropriation come out of the capital fund of $12,000 to cover the cost that the insurance did not cover for the roof, or for the damage, and it isn't just the roof. So the total cost, just for some background, so there was damage done in February, almost a year ago, February 22nd, 2015, and it caused damage, water keep leaking from the radio room, there was water damage in the back hall off the ramp. And the initial reason of the damage is faulty workmanship. Now, unfortunately, this building was built around the year 2000, so when this occurred, it was 15 years out, so statute of limitations doesn't apply, we can't go back after anyone. Fortunately, the insurance took care of all the damage that was done, which meant that we get a new roof in addition to that. So the total cost of the project is $99,947.05. So a new roof has been put on. There's work that needs to be done inside, and it's the same issue. So in the radio room and on the back ramp, there's an architecture report, an engineering report, rather, not an architecture, engineering report, that there's a 10-inch shortage which caused these ice dams to build up and for the leaking to happen. So to fix the damage that occurred in the radio room is $5,841, and to fix the damage to the back area where there's a window. Now, we're not replacing the window because the window actually is not does not have safety glass. It's not going to affect the design of the building. It's not going to affect anything in the building. It's leaking out. We're losing lots of heat and lots of air conditioning throughout the seasons. And in order to remove that, dispose of the materials, build it up, insulate, frame, do everything that's needed to be done, the total to do that is $7,056. So between the two projects, it is a little over $12,000. So I want to take the $12,000 out of the capital, that's going to go back. I do have money in the building fund, which is what this is used for, and I'm trying to not deplete the building fund. There's been a lot of things that have been taken out of the building fund year to date, and I'm trying to not deplete it, so I want to try to make it easy and keep the funds allocated where the funds are supposed to be. So the reason for the meeting is to approve the appropriation of the $12,000 so I can have these two pieces corrected, and hopefully everything will be good, because it's already been fixed once, and unfortunately the original cause of the water was not corrected. So there was an incident back in 2013 where they came in and they basically just put the sheetrock back up, fixed the ceiling, and called it a day. It didn't go over our insurance deductible, so it looks like it was, according to information that I have, around $3,300. So because this was such a big project and the issue that caused the water to begin with wasn't fixed, they are fixing that now. We're going to take care of it, so therefore I don't anticipate it to happen again. And in addition, because this was over our deductible, in addition to this $12,000 I want to appropriate, there's a $5,000 deductible that we're required to pay out of our insurance, and we do have the money in that, that's already there, so I'm covered there. So just trying to appropriate funds that have already been put aside so that we can fix this once and for all. We won't lose any more heat and everything else, because again, this claim happened about a year ago, so we really need to get it fixed.
Okay,
So that's my background.
Thank you. Any questions, comments?
I have one. I'm totally in favor of fixing the building and transferring the money. I just have a question on the motion itself. It's a procedure question. Discussion I had with the Board of Finance previously. I think they should identify which line it's going to go into. Either the line has to be renamed, or it has to be appropriate to its own line, or maybe to the maintenance building line, so that we know where the money will be coming from. So it's just a procedure, and I think in my mind the motion is too vague. Thank you.
Yes.
For the new roof, is there going to be any kind of warranty with this new roof? I'm just surprised with the old roof,
So
15 years.
it really
usually
wasn't-
a 20 or 30 year warranty.
Yeah, so-
Sometimes I thought it was insurance.
just to clarify, so this is interesting. The roof wasn't replaced because of the water damage. The roof was actually replaced because somebody had gone up on the roof to alleviate the snow on the roof, to alleviate the problem of it leaking, and therefore cause damage to the roof. So it isn't so much that the roof failed, but because of the damage to the roof and the way the insurance policies read, because of the lines of the building, the insurance company actually has to pay for continuous lines. So even though maybe this section of the building was damaged, because it would look different due to aging, color, texture, and the roof was 15 years old, that's why the whole roof from the other side of that wall over where the radio room is pretty much where the firemen are, needed to be replaced. So it really wasn't a roof issue. It just so happened that there was some damage from someone up there that caused there to be, damage to the shingles and the sheathing underneath, and that's why we ended up with a new roof.
Is the fire department going to have a policy to not do that anymore?
I don't believe it was the fire department that
It
did
was a
that.
contractor? Okay.
So that's definitely to make sure that it doesn't happen in the future, because the way I look at it now is, this was maybe a 25 or 30-year roof. Now we bought ourselves some more time, which is great. So even though it was a sad situation, I feel like we have a little bit of an upside, although I'm hoping that our insurance costs aren't going to go up. And, maybe the possibility of even putting solar panels or something on the fire department to help with some of the energy efficiency costs might be something we can look into. So it really wasn't a faulty roof. It was due that the way where the roof ended and the building, it didn't extend out long enough, so that's what caused the ice dam to back up into there and cause the problem with the leaking and the flooding. And it was pretty much, from what I understand, a lot of water coming through.
The condo association had moved from flat roofs, and we went to shovel them that year. They were like 4 feet, and we were very, very careful with our contractor. 'Cause,
Yeah.
There's gravel up there. If you
Correct.
damage it, you void the warranty.
Correct.
Up there.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the same situation here.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is.
Because
Yeah.
it happened again 2 years ago.
Yeah, it wasn't the fireman, no.
Okay. I don't want to play with it.
Yeah, no, just so you know.
And then for the other work, for like the window and stuff,
Yeah.
that was put out to bid, or are they going to be local?
The company that did the roofing gave us a discount because they're already here, and so the insurance company has a handful of companies that they work with. I also didn't want the same thing to happen, that it didn't get fixed previously, because that was another way. So I negotiated a little bit on the price because they're already here doing the other work. So it actually ended up being a little bit cheaper because they're already going to be here fixing
They're going to do the window and the flash?
everything all together. Yeah.
Do you have a name of that company?
That's doing the work.
Or
Yeah.
did the work doing the work?
The company doing the work is Disaster Restoration in Middletown.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Okay, if not, all those in favor of the motion as stated, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, passes.